Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So for those of you that don't know, I've actually been playing in a game called The Tales of Talendia. And so within the last, couple of weeks, I've had to experiment around with making a character I'd actually play for once. And as I was going through some of these options, one of the things that jumped out very strongly to me was the Rune Shaper feat. And yes, I do realize that covering Bigsby's, Adventures with Giants has already been out for a bit, but seriously, don't sleep on this feat. It holds so much more power other than just being a cool flavor feat and a lot of RP potential. So my ramblings aside, let's go over what this feat actually does. You're like, Smiles, what's the hype around this feat? Get on with it already. So with this feat, you get access to the spell Comprehend Languages, which, not bad. It gives you a first level spell, so that's some good utility there. And it also gives you a number of the following spells equal to half your proficiency bonus rounded down. You get Fog Cloud, Inflict Wounds, Chromatic Orb, Disguise Self, Burning Hands, Speak with Animals, Armor of Agathis, Goodberry, Longstrider, Command, Entangle, Sanctuary, and Thunderwave. Now, a decent chunk of these spells here aren't really great, in my opinion. However, there are some contenders here that really give you a lot of powerful options with some multi-class building potential. For example, let's take the Frost Abjuration Wizard, as I'm going to refer to it as. Now, typically, Armor of Agathis is a Warlock-only spell. It's a great multi-class spell, though, because you can upcast it and not need to worry about it being a weaker version because it's being powered by a different stat. If you switch over from Charisma to Intelligence, that's typically how this build would work. But regardless, Rune Shaper is great because if you really don't want to take that one level dip into Warlock for this Abjuration Wizard, it's perfect. How the build itself normally works is that as an Abjuration Wizard, you get access to this thing called an Arcane Ward. What this does is take damage for you as long as it has remaining hit points. But then, you as the wizard can still actually have your own temporary hit points too, which means that we can cast Armor of Agathis at a super high level on ourselves, get ourselves temporary hit points, and on top of this, our ward is still taking all of these hits for us. However, our incredibly bizarre pseudo and actual temporary HP aside, the crazy part about this is the order of operations. So, the first thing that gets hit is the ward's hit points, and then the Armor of Agathis hit points, and then your hit points. And with Armor of Agathis, whenever you get hit by a target in melee, that target then takes damage from Armor of Agathis. And mind you, this can be upcast too, so you can get even more temporary hit points, and then anytime you get hit, that person is taking even more damage. Which means that your attackers are going to need to hit you a lot just to get to the Armor of Agathis hit points. And they're taking all that damage along the way. So it's almost like you're getting an even more powerful Armor of Agathis because of this ward. And this is a phenomenal build that in reality, if you didn't want to invest into the Warlock, you'd really only be able to achieve it by going with the Mark of Warding Dwarf. That lineage gets you the option of taking Armor of Agathis as one of your wizard spells, and it works the same as that route too. But now you can take whatever lineage you want on top of taking this feature. And this is kind of really where I want to cover with this, is that typically you would be bogged down by so many different features that you needed to play as. However, the raw power of these kinds of builds is the adaptability. When you take something like the Rune Carver background, and in addition take this feat, you really free up a lot of the potential for your character. In addition to, if you're also playing with custom backgrounds, as a variant rule that some DMs allow, this gives you even more versatility. Because genuinely, I want everyone to really think about this. When was the last time your background really mattered? Outside of just starting skills, some very minor equipment, and maybe something that would tie slightly into your backstory. The investment now that you need to start making some of these builds has never been lower, and it's crazy to me. I just wanted to preface that first before moving on. Anyways, moving on to our next build, the Life Cleric Goodberry combo. Now typically this route is where you take one level of Cleric and then X levels of Druid, or one level of Druid and then X levels of Cleric. Life Clerics are good because they allow you to give it a healing spell an additional boost when you cast it. Whenever you cast a healing spell, the creature that it affects regains additional hit points equal to 2 plus the spell's level, which means that when you get a good berry and cast it at first level, you have the ability to get a whopping 40 hit points of healing. What's great about this too is that thanks to the Rune Shaper feat, you can actually get 1 free casting of good berry a day, which means that if you're doing this at early levels, you can really get a lot of healing for you and your party. Because let's be real, a first level cleric only has 2 spell slots, but thanks to Rune Shaper, you have 1 extra casting of Goodberry that you can use. And now there are other different variants of this too, where sometimes people would want to play as, a cleric with Magic Initiate in order to get the crossover feat that way, and then they would just play Goodberry once a day to still get that feature. However, this is so much more powerful, and that's what I was talking about before. It's this power creep that makes builds overall stronger simply because of how many different resources and options are in the game. I want to put this in perspective too. Like really, really putting this in perspective. You could take the last build that I just described, and you could literally, for the small investment of 1 level into Life Cleric, make this build on that character as well. You could go all the way Abjuration Wizard with Armor Vagathis, and then in addition to that, you can also play Life Cleric Goodberry combo on that character simply by just taking Goodberry as one of the spells that you get with Rune Shaper and investing 1 single level in Cleric. Previously, that was a build that would have taken way too many different stats. It would have taken way too many different feats. Now, you basically have the ability to merge 2 really, really stupid, crazy fun builds into 1 tightly knit package. So anyways, too, the last combo that I wanted to cover here is the Enchanting Sanctuary Wizard. So Sanctuary is a fun spell because when you cast it, it means that anyone that tries to attack the target must make a Wisdom saving throw, and if they fail the saving throw, they must choose a new target or lose the attack. And Enchantment Wizard has a fun feature called Instinctive Charm, and what that does is that when you're targeted for an attack by a creature you can see within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to make that creature make a Wisdom saving throw, and if they fail, they must choose another target, one that is closest to them to be the target of the new attack. So what this means is that you can have your target make 2 Wisdom saving throws if they try to attack you. The first one to defend you is Sanctuary, and then if that doesn't work, then you also have the insurance policy of Instinctive Charm, making you very hard to hit. Now, of course, once again, there are other ways of making this build possible. You could also do this by multiclassing into something like Artificer, or even just taking the Artificer Initiate feature. However, as I've said with the rest of these builds, it's just faster now. You can't trade in this kind of utility. Anyways, let's kind of step back from the aspects of all of the fun builds we can make with this. When it comes to this feat, there are so many different ways you can benefit from this. For example, one massive one that really jumped out to me, imagine doing something like this on a Warlock. In my opinion, Warlocks are very limited in not just the spells that they can cast, but also the spells that they can learn. If you put something like this on a Warlock, you're giving them a lot more utility. Some of the other half feats in the game, like particularly like Fate Touched and Shadow Touched, are really good in my opinion on Warlocks because it gives you some of that extra free spell casting as well as some additional spells that you can cast, but also it really doesn't draw too deeply from your pact magic. But my ramblings aside, Rune Shaper gives you this ability to just have more spells at the ready. Yeah, sure, you can cast them for free once a day, but it's also this fact that you gain the ability to cast a nice chunk of extra spells with your Warlock and just have them prepped and ready just in case you need them. And also too, if you're playing a character that just doesn't really get a whole lot of spells in general, this is also a really good option. Like if you're making maybe like a 2-level dip into Wizard for some reason, or maybe into Sorcerer or whatever have you. Like if you're taking like a 1 or 2 level dip into a Spellcaster for whatever reason, because it fits with your build and you just want more spells, but you also don't want to go super deep into that class itself, well, congratulations. Rune Shaper can help get you some more spells and some more utility. But anyways though, I just wanted to touch on this feat. It is crazy to me how readily available a lot of the resources in D&D are and how very quickly they can make builds that are just very powerful. So anyways, I invite you to take a close look at this feat yourself and figure out what sort of builds you think would be really cool to make. And of course, just play them and have a lot of fun. But anyways though, I hope you can see why this feat is so strong and how it has the potential to really change characters' overall utility and strength. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then please like this video and subscribe for even more D&D content and ideas. And let me know in the comments what other fun builds you guys would want to see me make with this feat. And in the meantime, keep smiling, keep scheming, and I'll see all of you next time.